Hi, I'm Hina Siddiqui, and you are listening to the Corporate Life Podcast. We are in season 3, where every life is a movie and you are the star of yours. So step into the spotlight, the world is watching. I grew up with a mother who wanted one thing for us three kids to be safe. Not wildly successful, not wildly expressive, just safe, protected, and proper. It came from love, I know that now. But as a child, I internalized something different and deeper, that the world was dangerous, that shining too much or standing out was risky, and that doing and being everything that others want us to do and be was the only way to stay loved and accepted. Years later, as I built my business, I noticed a pattern. Every time I tried to control the outcome, every time I lowered my standards to please and keep clients over optimized, doubted it, feared rejection, or held it back just in case. Every time I overparented my business with fear, not belief, I was mothering my business the way I was mothered. Not with trust, but with fear disguised as love. And that's when this analogy hit me: business is parenting. And today I'm going to break this down for you so you could also take a deeper look into your own patterns as you show up in your business every single day. My intention for this heart to heart conversation with you is that you look beyond the strategies and tactics in your business, especially if the money is a constant struggle. Because it's not about you doing anything wrong, but the way you were raised is still running the show. And the great news is that once you are aware of it and commit to rewrite those patterns and release the stuck energy, your business will see a spectacular and unbelievable rise. Trust me on this. I see magic happening after we do this stuff in my programs. So do yourself a favor, just open up your mind and heart and be with me until the very end. You may or may not have heard this before, but as I said, the way you were raised has the deepest impact on every area of your life. Your childhood is not just a chapter of your past, it's the blueprint of how you see yourself now, how you show up in relationships, how much or how little money you make, and of course, how you build your business and handle money. The way we were parented is the lens through which we learn what's safe, what's possible, and what it takes to be loved and accepted. Now, listen to this carefully. If you grew up in a home where love felt conditional, you learned to perform and please. If you grew up where money was scarce, you learned to fear it or chase it, or a classic one: you don't know how to hold it, so you'll get rid of it by spending it all, making wrong choices, and weird investments. And if you grew up where emotions were not expressed, you learned to suppress your own. And these lessons don't just disappear when we grow up. They become the scripts we keep running, silently guiding our decisions, our relationships, and our business. That's what I mean when I say wounds. A wound is simply an unresolved emotional imprint from childhood. It's not about blaming our parents. They did the best they could with the knowledge they had and the way they themselves were parented. It's about recognizing the patterns that got wired into us before we even knew who we were. Now it's our responsibility as adults to take charge of our life and our business, right? So, a wound is where love, safety, or acceptance felt conditional, and that memory stayed stuck inside of us. There's mother's wound. The mother wound usually forms when a child feels that love is tied to conditions, like being safe, obedient, beautiful, or proper. Instead of feeling free to be fully ourselves, we learn to shrink, to please, and to adapt because we want to please our mom and dad. This is where perfectionism, people pleasing, and fear of visibility often come from. Then we have father's wound. The father wound often forms when a father is emotionally or physically absent, inconsistent, or does not model strength. For some, it shows up as never feeling supported or guided. For others, it's watching a father struggle with money or responsibility. That absence or struggle leaves us doubting our own authority, our own ability to stand strong. So, do we all have mother wounds and father wounds? In some form, yes. Almost everyone carries them. Why? Because no parent is perfect. Even with love and best intentions, parents pass on their own unresolved wounds, fears, and patterns to us. Children are deeply impressionable. Even small moments of neglect, criticism, comparison, or absence can leave lasting imprints. Parenting is not just about what's given, it's also about what's not given: presence, safety, affection, freedom, encouragement. The mother wound, it shows up when love feels conditional on being safe, obedient, beautiful, quiet, or good enough. It can also form if the mother was overbearing, critical, anxious, or emotionally unavailable. Common adult patterns with mother wounds are perfectionism, people pleasing, fear of visibility, shrinking to be accepted, like that. The father wound shows up when a father is emotionally absent, inconsistent, critical, or financially or mentally unstable, right? So the common adult patterns here are doubting your authority, lack of confidence, money struggles, difficulty trusting masculine support. And why this matters for business. These wounds are not just old memories, they become the parenting style we unconsciously use in our business. We chase clients the way we once chased love of our parents. We shrink the way we once shrank at home. We settle, we fix, we overprove because that's the script we were given as children. And for many of us, mother's love felt conditional. Can you relate with that? Conditional on being safe, like don't take risks, don't stand out too much. Like for me, it was don't stay out of home after a certain hour in the evening. Conditional on appearance, like look proper, look acceptable, dress up properly so you don't invite criticism or attention. Conditional on obedience, so do what you are told, don't make waves, just conform. So, what do you learn as a child? That to be loved, to be accepted, you have to perform, obey, and shrink yourself into something acceptable. On the other side, many of us had fathers who were emotionally absent or unavailable. Some of them never modeled strength or confidence. Some struggled with money or responsibility and carried shame and guilt. Some were physically present but emotionally unreachable and critical. And what do you learn in that space? That you can't fully trust masculine strength or stability. You either try to replace it or you go through life second guessing your own authority. For years, I have been on my healing journey, and as I uncover my patterns and relate to the wounds I have had, I noticed that I had a lot of them. My mom saw me as an extension of herself, so I had boundary issues. I felt so guilty for saying no and kept pleasing people around. In our family, we did not talk about emotions and how we were feeling. Feeling grief or upset was not allowed. So I learned to shut down my emotions to keep peace, to look strong. And we were expected to stay strong all the time. So my nervous system was always on high alert. And what happens when we do that? We block our blessings and stay in the zone of doing more effort. You know that classic hard work syndrome that most of the leaders do? In my business, I did not know how to keep boundaries. I had a hard time saying no to clients, and I was constantly lowering my standards and keeping my prices low to attract the clients, or let's say wrong clients. I procrastinated in the name of being perfect. I always saw my father working very hard and still struggling with money. Since a very early age, I absorbed his struggle energy. I learned that money does not come easy. It comes with trouble and hard work and lots of sacrifices. And those who have it all, they are either frauds or extremely lucky. So, guess what I did? I spent money as fast as I got it on travel, shopping, things that did not even matter. Not because I wanted to, because I did feel safe holding money. So, do you see that it's the paycheck to paycheck cycle? Where does that come from? It feels safe to stay small, to follow rules, to never upset anyone, than to make fearless decisions in our business. Does anything I said sound familiar? Are you discounting your offers and putting your clients on a pedestal the way you dimmed your light to make your parents happy once? Do you think that you struggling with making money or getting new clients is a normal business process? And have you ever caught yourself too much controlling and suffocating your business, team members, and systems the way you tried to be perfect the way you did in your childhood so your parents could be proud of you? And do you find yourself worrying about payments and the financial situation of your business? You might say this is all normal because the majority of business leaders do this without second guessing. But do you see the connection here? Those lessons and early experiences don't stay in childhood. They sneak into our adulthood, they sneak into our business. And then you wonder why you underprice, why you hesitate to speak boldly, why you over deliver and still feel not enough, and why you chase clients even when they don't respect you. It's not just bad business habits, it's your childhood conditioning replaying itself, your business becoming the mirror of your wounds. The fact is that almost each one of us is doing this, unconsciously, obviously. We are parenting our business the way we were parented, overprotective, controlling, fearful, or transactional. A lot of us neglect it, like a parent too busy or unavailable. But true conscious business growth is like conscious parenting, knowing when to nurture and when to let go, instilling habits and discipline like systems, encouraging boldness and not just safety. Now let's get into a deeper layer. If you grew up with emotionally unavailable parents, you learn to chase. And in business, you chase clients even when they don't respect you. If you grew up with parents who told you to be quiet, small, proper, you learn to shrink. In business, you lower prices, hide your brilliance, or dim your voice. If you grew up terrified of loneliness or rejection, you settle. In business, you take on misaligned clients and underpriced projects, just so you are not empty handed. If you grew up having to carry your parents' emotions, you become the fixer. In business, you overfunction, solving clients' problems beyond scope, rescuing team members, exhausting yourself. If you grew up with love that was conditional, that was transactional, you learn that love or success must be earned. In business, that looks like overproving, overworking, and never feeling worthy of ease. For years, I chased clients who did not value me, just like I once chased emotional presence from my parents. I would lower my standards, bend my boundaries because that's what felt familiar. In my early consulting days, I underpriced everything. I didn't want to be too much or scare people away. I was that small girl who had learned to stay small. I can't count the number of times I over-delivered, coaching someone on things far outside the contract because I felt I had to fix them to prove my worth. So these are some of the wounds we carry into our business. If you have seen your father struggling with money, you are most likely to repeat that story in your own business. If you saw survival around money where your parents had barely enough to survive, your business financial situation will be the exact same. If you had a mother who was anxious, you will run through your life being anxious, and that anxiety shows up in your business decisions, your launches, your client conversations. If you had a mother who was critical and judgmental, you still carry that inner critical voice. It keeps telling you that you're not good enough, not ready yet, not perfect, and so you overwork, over prepare, and never feel fully satisfied. If you had a mother who was emotionally absent or unavailable, you may carry abandonment issues into your business. You will chase clients, lower your standards, and go to any extent to keep people, even when it costs you your power and integrity. If you grew up in a home where love was conditional or transactional, you will treat success the same way. You will feel like you have to earn it hard, prove it, constantly justify it, instead of simply receiving it. The truth is that your business is where your childhood stories come alive again. Until you heal those wounds, you will keep reparenting yourself through your clients, your money, and your growth. It wasn't until I started doing my own inner work, healing the mother wound and the father wound, that I saw how much my business mirrored those old childhood scripts. And when I released those patterns, my business shifted a lot. I stopped chasing, I stopped shrinking, and that's when high value aligned clients started showing up. Now, I want you to take a moment and ask yourself these questions. Am I treating my business like an anxious parent, holding it too tightly? Am I trusting it enough to explore, fail, and grow? What wound from my own upbringing am I unconsciously repeating in my business? My mother wanted me to be safe, but I want my business to be bold, free, and fully alive. That's how I break the cycle. When you heal your parenting wounds, you also heal how you lead, how you build, and how you create. You stop repeating survival patterns and you begin building a business that reflects not where you came from, but where you're going. This is the parenting your business has been waiting for. Next week, I'll share how I started healing those wounds, how I reparented myself and my business, and the exact shifts that took me from chasing and shrinking to building a bold $3 million business. Connect with me on LinkedIn and let me know what one wound or pattern you could most relate with. And share this episode with a business leader you really care about. I'll see you next week.